Greetings everybody. Welcome to Pro Systems. Ray and I will be presenting our flagship Sheriff software called SQL.net to you today. Many thanks to the South African Board for Sheriffs for the opportunity to do this presentation. We really appreciate it.
A quick background about Pro Systems for those who don't know. Our first program was installed in 1987, which is over 3 decades ago. You can imagine how operating systems, computers, and technology have changed since then. Our first Windows-based program called Sheriff Access was released in 2001. In 2008, a major upgrade called Sheriff SQL, which is still used today, was released. We changed the storage engine to MySQL Community Server, which massively increased speed, reliability, and stability. In 2020, we released Sheriff SQL.net, which I'm going to show you today. It's completely rewritten and redesigned using the Windows.net framework and guaranteed to be compatible with any future release of Windows. So let's get started. We are now going to look at Sheriff SQL.net. Our existing users should find this interesting because most of them have not seen it yet. So let's see some action. Ray is going to click a desktop icon that looks like the one you see here, and we'll see what happens after that.
New program, new shortcut, find it, looks like this, double click, getting the date and the time from the server, getting the period parameters, and the login screen appears. Nothing much to do except type your login password. You're supposed to know that. Do not save your password if you're in an office with more than one operator. Dangerous, insecure. 2 shortcuts. One for TeamViewer, one for AnyDesk. If you've got a problem, click it, phone us, give us the number, we can assist you with whatever. Nothing else much to do here except click the login button. There you go. SheriffSQL.net, hello. Very uncluttered window. All your debtors listed over here from A to Z, all 3,565 of them, exceedingly fast. You can do inquiry on a case here. You've got your main functions over here. You've got toolbars. This second toolbar being the most important, where your most important daily tasks reside. And then, of course, a menu system. Everything you'll find over here and over here is also in the menu system, and the menu system has a couple of other things as well. Some quick features. Firstly, finding a debtor. Let's say, starting with ERA, just start typing. CHA, and so on. The more you type, the quicker it gets to the debtor. That's all you need to do. Multitasking. You can have many windows open. For example, I can be busy with an external editor, editing a document. And I can be busy inquiring on an account. To do an inquiry, you simply find the account, double-click it or press enter. The account will appear in a tabbed dialog, cases, financial, all the payments, the statement, all the emails you ever sent to the account, the letters you ever sent to the account, and others. You could also quickly query a case using whatever method you prefer. Find the case and press enter or double click it, and you're looking at the detail, all the detail we know about this case. Also in tabs, general, return, financial, history. All the emails we've ever sent, that history is all the financial history. The letters applicable, and so on.
We'll be covering the topics you see listed there, so let's get started immediately with creating a debtor account. There is no limit to the number of debtor accounts you can create. A debtor account is a container for the cases belonging to it. Account numbers are allocated by SheriffSQL.net. You don't have to know, or remember, them. Ray will now show you how a new debtor account is created.
Creating a new debtor account is really easy, but you must first make sure that it doesn't already exist. I intend to create a new debtor called Ramsay INC, so I'm going to type what I know would be in the name, which is Ramsay. Yeah, there is one, but I'm looking at the address. It's not the one I want. I want Ramsay INC, so it's not the same debtor, so I can safely create a new debtor account for the one I want to put in. I can do this by using one of the 4 functions. There's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third one. And here's the 4th one. Right-click any debtor and add a new debtor account. All of them take you to the same window. They do the same thing. Completing the fields is simple. If you don't know what to put in there, hover your mouse over a label and it will tell you. Simple as that. For example, a docx. Leave it blank if there's no docx address. Otherwise, start with the word docx. Right, so we've got the information in front of us on a covering letter normally, and we complete the fields. Simple, straightforward. Type carefully, get the spelling right, get the numbers right. When we get to how to send dispatch returns, we can use the post system, or when we come to send statements, because this guy's got an email address, we can send the statement via email. Do I or don't I want to charge interest? Tick the box if you do. Don't tick it if you don't. That's it. Everything is done. All we need to do is click save. Done. The account is created. I do not want to create another. That's how you put a debtor account into the system. There we are.
Right. Let's look at how to register a new case. You can register an unlimited number of cases on any debtor account. The secret is to register a case on the correct account. Ray is now going to show you how to register a new case.
Right, there's more than one way to start registering a new case, so I'm going to show you the most visible one, that one there. Let's double click there. We get to the registration window. Very busy window. Couple of tabs. Each one does things. We're not going to have time to go through all of this. Once again, moving the cursor over the labels will tell you what is required in each field. Over here, starting, it says the debtor who sent the document, type the account number or press Control-Enter to visually select the debtor from the list. So you don't have to know account numbers. You can select by Control-Enter and then start typing the name of the debtor you're looking for, like PRO, Pro Systems. I'm selecting that one. So now I can continue and select the base court. Now, I want you to watch down here, select the court, press M for Magistrates Court, H for High Court, right? Those are the instructions on that one. The next one, can you see them there? And the next one, can you see them there? And also the label. So when you've got the right information, it's easy. This is how it goes. Right? You complete the fields and save the registration. It's as easy as that. That's how you registered the case. Now remember I said I'd show you about the slip. There's the setting. If you want to print the slip at save time, make sure there's a tick there. If you don't want to print the slip at save time, it goes to the print slips list, where you can do it as a batch job. Let me show you what a slip looks like. This slip is attached to the documents, and these go to the deputy. The deputy is responsible to fill in the blanks of this slip, so that a return can later be made.
After deputies have completed their work, a computer operator generates a new return. As each new return is created, SQL.Net does a mass of stuff internally. Creates an invoice. Balances and ages the debtor account. Calculates deputy commission. Updates case financial history. Sends the return, or notification, to the outbox. Prints the return, or adds it to the print queue for batch printing. This all happens so fast that the operator is unaware that it happens at all. Ray will now show you how a return is created.
Right, you need to launch the returns window. I'm going to use this one here, the most visible, but there are 3 other ways to do it as well. Double click. Some settings you can check here, according to your preferences, especially that one about signatures. Start by clicking the start button. Normally the place to start, right? Now we have to call up a case. You can do it using any method here. The fastest method will be to use your reference number, which is on the return slip that the deputy completed, which is right in front of you. So type it in. There's the case. Double click it. Check everything over here that it's correct. If it's not, you can change anything. Please note at the bottom of the screen here, we've got the focus on the served. This case was served or not served. So the deputy would have indicated to you clearly whether or not he did serve the case properly. Press an S or an M, an S or an N, yes, and then go to the date, the physical date that the case was served, which is also on the slip. And very important, the time that this thing was served. The time is important, very, very important. And if that's not the deputy that served the case, you can change it to someone else. Otherwise, continue. Now you've got to select the content for this return. Now that would be indicated also on the slip in front of you by the deputy. Now, if you're an inexperienced operator, you'd use the Get Words window, which allows you to visibly select words using these categories. Otherwise, you'd simply type the code of the words you want to use and press enter. Now you can edit the words, you can add anything, you can change anything, and very importantly, before you leave, you spell check them. Sending out returns with spelling errors is embarrassing and not a good reflection on the office. When you're happy with the return words, as it says at the bottom, press escape to finish. Now we get to the important part, the costs. This is what the invoice is all about. I'm not going to explain what costs we need for what kind of cases. That's up to the sheriff, that's up to the board, that's up to how you are trained, what you know, what you should be putting on there. We provide the infrastructure to put anything. On the left, we've got a cost list with a lot of costs in them, predefined. You can add to that list. You can change things on that list. You can change things over here. For example, if you want to put in a cell phone call in the place of this one here, you would go to the list, type CELL, probably drag the cost and drop it into the field where you want the cell phone, and then you could type an amount. Okay, let's assume that these costs are correct. You can change them. You can, like I said, do anything with them, make them 0 or whatever. Carry on doing that until the costs of the return is correct. Then press Control and Enter. How many copies must be printed, and save the return. Immediately your account is updated, and all the internal bookkeeping is done by the system. You do not have to worry about balancing or anything like that. This is what programs do, and this is what SQL.net does very well. I can show you what this return looks like. There it is. At the end of the day, that is what the return looks like, and it will be printed exactly as you see it.
Sending statements is exceptionally easy. You can send statements, or a statement, anytime you like. Statements always reflect the exact status of an account as it is at the time a statement is sent. Statements change with every invoice, new return, and payment transaction, so bear this in mind. Ray will now show you how to send statements to a specific group, and how to select those debtors who will receive those statements.
A couple of ways to launch the statement window again, but let's use the most visible one. Double click. 3 tabs. The first tab, which group you want to send to. I'm going to send statements to the email group. You can put messages on the statements. There they are. You can change them. They're editable. You've got selection options. For example, don't process account with 0 or credit balances, which serve no purpose. And you can use checkboxes to select debtors if you don't like the normal Windows way, which I'm going to show you now. And then, of course, you can either put your association logo on the statement or without the association logo. Selecting the recipients of the statement. Okay, there we are. We have 5 debtors listed, but only 1 debtor selected. So how would we select the others? Because each time I go to another one, only 1 is selected. Hold the Shift key in, select the first one, select the last one, they're all selected. To select individual ones, for example, that one, hold the Control key in and select that one. Now you've selected 2. Right, I'm going to select them all. So how difficult is it to print the statements then? Go to the Start tab, click the Start button, click the Yes button, and off the statements go. You can minimize this window and continue with anything else now. And your statements have been sent. Now that was pretty difficult, wasn't it? Now, because we sent to the email group, these statements will be in the outbox. So let's go and have a look in the outbox, what we see. There the statements are. Statement, we sent 5 statements. There's 5 statements. What do they look like? Let's have a look. That is what the debtor receives. There they are. And end of statement sending.
Receiving a payment. Payments are received either by cash or electronic funds transfer. Receiving a payment does not mean cases are paid. It means there are funds available to make cases paid. A new payment causes a holding credit on the debtor account. Ray will now show you how to receive a payment.
I'm going to receive a payment for Pro Systems. So let's get hold of Pro Systems. And there Pro Systems is. You need to launch the Receive Payments window. The most obvious function to use is the most visible one once again, which is there. There are other ways as well. Let's do this one. But before I do, I want you to notice that under the holding column, there's nothing. We've got a balance of 3,900 Rand, nothing holding. Right, let's get a payment for Pro Systems. There's the right account. I simply press enter. There's the whole detail about Pro Systems, what's outstanding, and the aging balances, and. Right, here we can say how we received this payment. There are 4 different ways. Let's assume he paid by electronic funds transfer on the 20th, and he's paying the full amount. You can type anything there you like. And I can send a receipt to the debtor. If I want to, I check the box. Otherwise, I just press save. When I close the payments window now, I want you to see that all of a sudden, we have a holding balance of 3,947, and there is no outstanding balance. That's disappeared. Now, that bookkeeping happened automatically in the background. Nothing to worry about as far as you're concerned. The system will take care of it. That was receiving a payment.
Unpaid cases are made paid using the Apply Payments to Cases window. No program will magically know what cases the debtor intended to pay unless those cases were specified when payment was made. Unfortunately, It is so that most debtors don't specify anything, so the operator must apply the holding balance as best they can, usually starting with the longest outstanding cases. The operator can post a partial payment, or even specify an amount paid. We call this a custom credit, per case. Ray is going to make it look real easy, and it is, but be aware that this window has other powerful functions that we don't have time to show you. Let's see how it's done.
Right, we're going to apply the holding balance of 3947.96 to Pro Systems. Launching the payments window, apply payments to cases window, there it is, double click. You can either show all cases or unpaid cases. There's the unpaid cases. Have a look down here. Unpaid cases amounts to so much. We've got so much holding, the green. Nothing has been applied yet, and we have so much still available, which is the darker yellow. To make a case paid, you've got action keys. The enter key would be to apply a credit. Let's see how that works. There's a case, I'm pressing enter. Note that it is suddenly paid. And this I can continue doing. And as I do this, it will show me how much I've already applied and how much I have available. So as I continue down making these cases paid, and as I apply the last amount, I get asked if I want to save the payment transaction. If I say yes, the transaction is saved, cases are made paid, and then let's have a look at the main window. There it is. All of a sudden, there's no balance, there's no holding. The bookkeeping has been done in the background. The account has been balanced. Nothing further for you to do. Easy peasy.
Let's look at the trust account. It's not an accounting package. It is not intended to do an auditor's job. This is for sheriffs. Its purpose is to bind trust money transactions to cases so as to be able to answer queries regarding receipts and payments quickly and accurately. Ray will show you how it works, so let's get started.
I'm going to quickly show you how to post transactions into the trust account. Easiest way to load the trust account window is that icon there. Give it a click. There you are, the trust account window, organized into two lists. The top list are all the debtor accounts that have trust account transactions. The list at the bottom, as you move from debtor to debtor, it displays the cases with trust account transactions. I'm going to post a new transaction on a case that does not appear here yet. I'm going to use that case number and show you how easy this is. First, you have to find the case. Okay, let's assume that's the case that we have to post the trust transaction on. So I'll double click it. What in actual fact appears here now is the case inquiry window, which is organized into a series of tabs, amongst others the trust tab. Inside this tab, there are two lists. The green list, which is receipts, and the red list, which is payments. Posting a new receipt is child's play. Define the date. That's the actual date that the payment was received. Describe whatever. I'm just going to type here test payment. Test receipt, I'm sorry. And I'm going to put in an amount. This thing was, I'm going to make it 1,000. This was received by EFT. I can print a receipt if I want, otherwise I'm going to save it. So I've received 1,000 Rand on this case. This is money which will be in my trust account. Now at some point or other, money that comes in must go out. So that's where the payment comes in. I'm going to post a new payment. Let's see how that's done. I'm going to post the payment on today's date, and I'm going to pay out to the debtor. Okay, whatever. You can type there whatever you like. But the sheriff is withholding 200 Rand commission, and he's paying 800 Rand to the debtor. If I look down at the bottom here, case trust summary, I see that the balance of these transactions is 0. In other words, this trust transaction from receipt to payout is finalized, and there is 200 Rand available to be paid to the sheriff. Right, it isn't paid to the sheriff yet, it's available to be paid to the sheriff. I just want you to know that. Okay, so that's how we posted a transaction, a receipt, and a payment on a case. Now, there are other transactions here as well. That one to, for example, pay the sheriff. Here we can pay the sheriff the 200 Rand that are withheld. I can not pay it, and I can pay out other trust transactions, and that 200 will accumulate. And at some time or another, I can pay out the accumulated amount to the sheriff. So you can't pay out more to the sheriff than the sheriff's going to get. There are also functions for posting bank interest that you received into the trust account, and also posting bank expenses that were deducted from your trust account, and also a function to pay the board for sheriffs their dues. And that is the basics of the trust account. I mean, posting a transaction for the sheriff, as you can see, there it is. It's as simple as that. Really not complicated. I don't even see why I need to show you that. The same goes with the bank interest received. Very simple to post the transaction. And the bank expense, very simple to post the transaction. So there you are. That's the trust account. Now, I need to do an inquiry on that case that I posted. Let's see. How did that work? There it is. I'm going to double click it. That brings the inquiry window back up. And there are the transactions that are posted. And that's it. It's just easy as that. You can answer any questions now because you've got the dates and times and who received what and who paid out to whom. That's the whole aim of this trust account.
Powerful functions exist to handle arrear notices and letters. You'd use the template editor to create templates containing whatever you want to say. Because our time is limited, Ray won't be able to show you how to create the templates. However, he will show you how to use the letters to debtors window to send the content of any template to a selected debtor, or any number of selected debtors. Here we go.
Right, sending arrear notices and letters to debtors is extremely easy. Simply highlight the function, there's the visible one, double click or press enter, window appears. In this frame, basic target debtor selection, you would choose either the email, the debtors with email account, addresses, or the printer. If you choose the printer, email addresses don't count. Normally we'll use the email one, not so. In the advanced selection filtering, this is where you'll choose what debtors should be listed, because you've got to select from this list and you don't want the list to be overly long. So if I'm only interested in those with 90-day plus outstanding balances, then that's the filter I'll choose. You can obviously attach a file. Here it is. It says so. Got to be a certain type though, not any file. Right, once you've got this set up, press the button, go to the next step. Here the debtors are. There's 32 of them listed. I'm going to choose just 4 for this demo. And when I've done that, I'm going to the next step, which allows me to choose which template to use. So I've got various templates that are available to me. I'm going to use the month-end debtors outstanding one. And I'm going to call the subject heading of the mail, your account is in arrear. And then I'm going to click that button, click the start button, and off go the templates to the off go the letters to the outbox. Let's have a look in the outbox. There they are. You want to see what they look like? Look. There you go. That is what the mail will look like that the debtor will receive.
And then there's the website manager. What does it do? It's a very powerful optional add-on. It presents to our sheriffs the ability to allow their debtors access to their cases and statements whenever they choose. If you acquire the website manager, you'll also get a website. ProSystems will supply and configure everything. Amongst others, your website hosts a browser-based application called Data Service. The debtors use this application to access their data. The Sheriff Website Manager's basic functions are to synchronize local data with a cloud database in real time, and, using links embedded in email notifications, present the Data Service application to your debtors. There is no doubt that this is the ultimate blocking system. Why? Because a debtor will contact you when they can't see their returns, and you control that. This will result in a substantial increase in cash flow, and incoming queries will decrease dramatically. Ray will show you how the debtors get to use the Data Service application and what Data Service looks like.
Alright, let's kick this off by looking at the Data Service app that the Website Manager presents to your debtor. Your debtor will receive notification mails. Here's a good example. It would look like this. In the mail, there is a link. There's the link. You can see it. And all the debtor needs to do is to click that link to go to his account or use the Data Service program. So let's do that. There we go. It is actually loading live. This is what really happens in practice. The debtor gets to the login screen, and there's a couple of things that's important here for the debtor. Firstly, he's got to check this box. I have read the terms and conditions. If he hasn't, then that's fine as long as he checks the box. But these are the terms and conditions. There they are. He can read them anytime. He can also read about this Data Service app and what it does. And when he's done that, or wants to do that, or doesn't do it, it's up to him. He checks the box and logs into his account. Yeah, he gets told who he's connected to. We can see he's connected to Sheriff Development, which is now me. And he gets told who he is. Welcome to Data Service, and there's his name. There's 5 functions here that he can execute. Let's go through them one by one. He can query any of these cases using any of these parameters. Okay, so he can find anything he wants to find, and it can only be his cases that he finds, nothing else. Let's see how this works. He clicks the Find button. All the cases, the type of case SUMM in them are listed for him. And he can click the Show button to see that case. Right, that's simple enough. They like that. Then he can list the recent returns. Recent returns are the returns made within the last 30 days. Right, once again, he can click the Show button to have a look at that return, and they love that. That's what they actually want to see. He can look at the recently registered cases. Once again, cases registered within the last 30 days. And then he can look at his statement, which they liked very much. Very easy for him. He clicks on the Create Statement button. Has to wait a while because a PDF file gets created. And once that's done, he can click the Show Statement button, and there you are. He looks he's looking at his statement, which is almost exactly like the one you sent by email. And he can see where he stands. And lastly, he can send a message to the sheriff. There's some default text set for him, and he can type here whatever he wants to. And then he can click on Not a Robot, prove he's human, and click the Send button, and the sheriff will receive his message. The debtors love this program because it's so simple and easy to use. Let's see how he looks at a case. There you go. I'm going to click the Show button. This is what happens when you show a case. Immediately it takes you to the content of the return. And this is what he wants to see more than anything else. He can see the costs that are applicable to this return. And he can see the detail about the case, and if there are related cases, they will be listed there. He can, in the content tab actually see a return very similar to the one that you would have sent him if you'd emailed the return to him. And he can print that if he wants to. So, the debtors, when they get used to this, and after they've discovered how it works, which they discovered pretty easily, they love it and they want to use it as much as possible because they don't have to make calls to your office. They get immediate results. They can see exactly what they want to see within no time in a couple of mouse clicks. This is what the same app looks like on a mobile. Let's use the provisional statement as an example here. It's a little bit different to the desktop statement. Don't have enough screen space for that. But it's clear and they can see everything they need. Right, let's finish with showing you how to block a debtor. Within the Sheriff Website Manager program, you double-click the Data Service Debtors function. Then you find the debtor you want to block. I'm going to show you what happens when you block a debtor. And let's see what it looks like. What does the debtor see? The debtor fee is the following when he's blocked. No matter what link he clicks in, what email, this is what he fees. Now remember, he wants to fee a return. And he gets this message. You can imagine what he's going to do. He's going to phone you. And that's exactly what you want. Right, let's see what happens when a debtor is restricted access. Here we go, I'm going to show you. He can use any function excepting he can't see the content of his return, which is actually what he wants to see. So let's have a look at the recent returns and show that one. And he gets that message. There appears to be a problem. Okay, and what's he going to do? He's going to phone you. And that's exactly what you want. There we are. That is how you control access to the data service program for your data.
Well now, that's all we could fit into our allocated time slot. There is plenty more, like auctions and even the online auction system, but that will have to wait for another time. We sure hope that you understood this presentation and saw something interesting. No doubt there will be questions. If so, you can contact Pro Systems on 082-565-0258 between 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. Once again, a big thank you to the board for sheriffs for organizing this masterclass presentation. It's very much appreciated. Thank you all for listening and watching. From all at Pro Systems, we wish you a peaceful and happy festive season. Most importantly, stay healthy. So, until next time, goodbye.